This episode of the Fight Within podcast is presented to you by Meguiar's. For over 115 years, Meguiar's has been carefully creating and producing advanced formulas with cutting-edge chemistry to deliver a show car perfect appearance. Whether you're showing on the fairway, finalizing your car for auction, or simply getting your beloved car ready for a weekend drive, Meguiar's is ready to help with their premium car care products to make every automotive surface look its absolute best. Meguiar's, reflect your passion. Make sure to visit them at meguiars.com.
What's up, guys, and welcome to another episode of the Fight Within podcast. Today's guest is none other than Leslie Nguyen. I said it right. Also known as Miss Bosscat.
Miss Mini Donuts.
Miss Mini Donuts. Miss Entrepreneur.
Miss Hustler.
Miss everything.
Oh, yeah.
Miss Tired. Miss Team No Sleep.
So, first of all, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for coming on.
Thanks for having me. I feel very honored.
And let's just get right into it. Tell us a little bit about your backstory, a little bit about why you wanted to start the companies that you did and how you got here.
So how far back do you want to go?
As far back as you want to tell us.
As far as you want to go.
So I started at Burger King.
Oh, nice.
Is that
my
your very
first job was McDonald's.
Was it really?
Like my first real job, yeah.
Okay.
In Foothill Ranch.
Really?
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. Yeah, mine was in Laguna Niguel.
That's funny.
Okay.
Yeah. So I started at Burger King. So I've been in the food industry my whole life.
Uh-huh.
So it's kind of, I would have never thought I'd still be in it because I had aspirations of going into art.
Okay.
But I was not good at it. So starving artist does not fit in my future. But always worked in the restaurant industry. Fast forward, I was the hostess at Salt Creek Grill.
Okay.
That was my first actual restaurant job.
Nice.
And then,
Salt Creek Grill.
do you remember that?
I
It's still around.
I think it's still there.
It is,
yeah.
but funny thing, I did one hostess shift there.
You were a hostess?
Just one day. I did one shift, and because I was going to do the events. But they make you start at the hosting thing. And I already had Hidden House at this point.
Okay.
And I was like, because I was trying to make extra money, you know, like hustle on the side. And so I did one shift,
yeah.
and I was like, nope, never again. Not for me. I never went back.
Really?
Yeah.
Why didn't you like it?
I think I didn't. I don't know. I don't think I liked having to be somewhere at a certain time and taking like direction from someone else.
Yeah.
I wasn't built for that. I don't
Yeah.
think there's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah.
But I already had my own business, so
Yeah.
It makes it hard to go.
Yeah, I was 16.
I was 23.
At Salt Creek?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was 16 years old. I was very young.
Okay.
But that was the one job and that I learned to always have cigarettes on you. So I don't smoke, but
Oh, your cigarette breaks, right? Smoke break to take a smoke break.
no,
Oh.
when a guest asked, people were asking, they go drink at the bar and they wanted a cigarette. Well, I learned real fast, if you gave them a cigarette, they give you $5.
Oh, okay. So
Cash.
bigger tip.
So I was
Nice.
like, oh, always carry cigarettes. So always before work, I go buy a pack of cigarettes. So if anyone asks for me a cigarette, I'm like, oh, here you go. And they would tip me.
Wow.
That's funny.
And so when I became a bartender, I always had a pack of cigarettes with me. So if anyone asked, I'd like, here.
Yeah.
And they'd be like, oh, how much is it? I'm like, nope, you can have it. And they'd give me more money.
Playing the system early.
Yeah.
It's smart. And then were you a bartender at Salt Creek? Or
No, I was 16.
Okay.
So then I left. So I had a best friend. Actually, we're still best friends, and I'm the godmother of her child. I just went and got jobs wherever she got jobs. So she was like, oh, I'm serving on the border.
Okay.
Come get a job with me. I'm like, but I never served before. I don't know if they'll hire me. She's like, oh, they'll hire you. They hired me. I'm like, okay. So I go in young and ask for a job. And the manager, I can tell they're like, you don't have experience. I said, I know I don't have experience, but I'm a fast learner and I'll outsell anyone.
Wow.
And they hired me. They did a second interview right away and then hired me. And then I learned how to serve there. And then my manager there, he told me, he's like, when you turn 21, I want you to bartend. I said, okay, I'll sure. Then Stadium Brewery opened right across
In
from
Aliso.
It's in Aliso
Yeah.
Viejo. So then I went and got a second job serving over there. We all kind of not left on the border, but we all got second jobs at Stadium. And the manager was kind of like, oh, you're going to leave me for them? I'm like, oh, no, I'm not leaving. I'm just getting another job. And so I did both.
And then the manager at Stadium, he was a manager also at this place called the White House in Laguna Beach.
In St.
I don't know if you know that. Yeah.
I've been to.
This is back in the day in like 2001
Uh-huh.
in its heyday. It's closed now. And he's like, would you be a cocktail server there? I'm like, sure. I've never done that before though. He's like, yeah, just come and I'll teach you how to do it. So I go, and it's a madhouse party. It's a huge party.
I've partied there before back in the day. A long time ago.
And we're drinking while working, and I'm leaving there with a bunch of cash, and I got drunk, and I'm like, wow, I'm getting paid to party.
Yeah.
Pretty much. So I just kept working there. Still worked out on the border too. And then in 2001, I met a boy and moved to San Francisco.
Ooh.
And then worked up there a little bit, partied probably a little bit too much, and ended up leaving and then left. And
then how long were you up in San Francisco?
a year.
Oh, okay. So not very long.
Not very long.
Okay. And then you came back.
I came back
And then worked.
in the Inland Empire. So I
the
moved.
heck?
Yes.
But did you live in Orange County, or did you move to the Inland Empire?
I moved straight to the Inland Empire because the
Okay.
boy's family was from the Inland Empire.
Uh-huh.
And, when you're in love, you do whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, young, dumb, went out there, was out there for 6 years.
Oh, wow.
And I worked in this, first of all, I'll go back. I got a job at Dave & Buster's.
Uh-huh.
And then I got a job at Red Lobster. And they wouldn't give me shifts. And so I ended up opening the paper, and I found this dirty dive bar. So I went and started working at this dirty sports bar, and they gave me all the shifts. So I'm like, okay, great. Went back to Dave & Buster's and said, I need a second job. You're not getting me shifts. And then all of a sudden, that lead started giving me all the shifts. And I'm like, I can't. I just told you I can't.
Yeah.
So I ended up quitting the job, working for this dirty dive bar. But it was ran by a really young couple. And that's actually where my inspiration of opening my own bar came from. So they were absentee owners. I was working for them 6 days a week and making a ton of money because I was during that big housing real estate boom.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And everyone was making so much money, and they were handing me $100 for a $2 beer.
Oh, wow.
And I worked there for 6 years. And so I tell you this story because this is where the catalyst of jumping into my own business started. Worked for them for 6 years, and then when they had 2 bars, started running both of them, and then they both got a divorce. And then when they got a divorce, they fired all the girls. So I didn't have a job.
Oh, wow.
And I worked for them for 6 years.
Yeah.
That was like a big part of my life. So then that's when I said, you know what, I'm going to open up my own bar. And when I worked for them, I always aspired to open up my own bar because when I saw them, I'm like, if they can do it, I can do it. Just like you just said. I'm like, if you can do this, I can do this. I'm doing it for you.
Yeah.
Well, what was the inspiration behind it? Did you like the idea of just owning a business, or did you was there a specific way that maybe they ran the bar that you liked, or did you want to do something better?
Well, it was to survive because I had to do it. The inspiration behind it was like I was already doing it for them, so why can't I just do it for myself?
Sure.
I'm your cash cow,
Yeah.
so I know I can do it. I can bartend in my own bar and not only make the tips, then I can make money from the business.
What gave you the confidence to do it after? Because I'm sure if you get let go or if you're fired, there's sort of that's a setback. It's a small setback. So what did you do, or what steps did you take to go and open up your own bar?
So I partnered with a girl that also worked with me. She, I was actually her mentor. I taught her how to bartend. And I told her, I said, people were always asking like, oh, do you want to open a bar? Do you want to open a bar with me? And I'd always say no. And then finally when this happened, getting fired is what happened. And then I asked her, I'm like, hey, do you want to open a bar with me? I want to move back to Orange County because I didn't want to be there anymore. I was already split up with that guy and got fired from the job. So I'm like, I want to go back home. And move back to Orange County. I'm going to find a small bar. If you want to come with me, we can open it together and we can work in it together. are you in? And she's like, yeah. So I was actually bartending at another bar because I always had 3 jobs.
Wow.
I always was bartending at 2 bars somewhere, and then like I did notary on the side and other little stuff. But went to my other job, told a broker or a commercial broker, I said, hey, I'm ready to open a bar. Can you find me something small in Orange County under 300,000? He's like, yeah, sure. The next day he came up, gave me 5 places, and I went to go look. And the first bar I found was perfect. It was in Irvine and tiny. It's 1,500 square feet.
Okay.
And I'm like, oh, this is perfect. I can work here. It's tiny. I can manage it. I don't need like crazy. I didn't know anything about business, so I didn't know about like, employees and all that stuff. I figured it would just be me and like a couple other people, because that's how the other bar ran.
Yeah.
And I went the next day and signed for it.
And where in Irvine was it?
It was, do you know where the Mother's Market is?
Yes.
Off Jamboree and Michelson.
Okay.
It was in that shopping center.
Where the melting pot is? Or was?
No,
that's further, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Where there's like a Ruth Chris, a Houston.
Okay. Yeah, Houston's.
A Mother's Market.
Yes.
So it's empty now, but next to Jan's Health Bar used to be like a Blue Mercury makeup shop.
Okay.
I was right there.
That's crazy.
Was it a Bosscat?
No, it was called Daily Dose Sports Lounge.
Okay.
Yeah, Bosscat came way
Wait,
after.
Daily Dose, that was, so you bought that?
No, it was a wine bar.
Okay.
Before, it was called Wine Symposium.
Why did I
But
think-
it had full liquor, and it had the license to stay open till 2 a.m. It was the only bar in Irvine that was allowed to be open till 2 a.m. with no food.
Why is it so hard? I hear people talk about it all the time. Why is it so hard to get a liquor license? Is it certain cities or?
So it's not hard to get a liquor license. It's hard to get a liquor license that doesn't require food.
Oh, okay.
They're all classified by numbers. There's a 47 and a 48. 48s are hard to come by because they have to be either grandfathered in or you have to petition for it, because with the 48 you don't need to have food. 47 is for restaurants.
Yeah, restaurants.
So you have to have food. There's a percentage of food to alcohol that you need to have. But the 48s are hard to find because, they don't want you in there drinking, no eating, and just getting wasted. And then there's more drunk driving accidents. There's more fights. There's more liability. There's just more things.
It's smart. Yeah, that's smart. And so throughout this whole time, you're starting a business. You're learning all these things. I don't know if you were learning all these things, but how was it from working somewhere and not having to worry about the behind the scenes or the business side of it to now being a business owner with a friend and having to learn the business side of it? How's that growing process for you?
It was painful because I didn't know any of the business side of it. And the girl that I partnered with sucked. She wouldn't go to work. She was sick all the time, or there was always some issue, or she was going to the gym, or she was one of those owners that liked to say that she was an owner but didn't really put in the work.
Yeah.
So it was growing pains with that, and then that's how I met John. Actually, my business partner. He was a regular, and he came in, and I was busy one night, and he's like, "Do you need help?" I said, "Do you know how to change a keg?" He's like, "Yeah, I do." Like, can you go changing that keg and do this and help me bust the tables? Because it was just me by myself. I didn't have money to hire a bunch of people, so it was just me doing cooking and security, and we didn't have security. It was just me and bartending, and so it was very painful to learn, and it was a struggle. I didn't make money for, a year and a half, 2 years.
And then how long were you there at at your first location?
6 years.
6 years, and you grew it. And did you have food there?
We did have food, but it was very minimal bar food.
Okay.
It was like Costco runs, Restaurant Depot.
Yeah, Restaurant Depot.
Because we were so small, Cisco doesn't deliver to you unless you have a minimum order of $300, and it's all in bulk, and my kitchen was like this. It's
literally just small. So you met your partner there, because kind of talk us through how you transitioned from having the crappy friend partner to meeting your new partner, which you guys have just continued to blow things up, which is freaking mind-blowing in the best way possible.
Thank you.
Yeah, let's kind of talk through that, because I think I'm excited personally just to hear how you went from that to where you guys are now, because being in the restaurant business is no joke. It's not for
it's not for everyone.
no, like I had my little taste of it, and it's like,
and trust me, I had no intentions of being a restaurant. I come from a bar background. I thought we were going to just be a whiskey bar with good food.
Yeah.
Now we're a full-blown restaurant. I'm like, am I way in over my head right now or what?
But yeah, talk us through how, when you first, from going from that night and then moving forward to where you're at now.
Yeah, so, John started helping me all the time, and then he'd help me on the weekends. And, never really expecting to like get paid. He just wanted to drink, and it just we started hanging out and just kind of all became friends. And he would literally help me like wash dishes and bus tables, and we'd be working on the business together. And eventually that girl, he just was like, you should just get rid of her and I'll help you. And actually one day I was in the office, had the door open, and he'd walk by and he's like asking me about the books and like the expenses and stuff, and I'm like, my what? Well, what are you? What does your P&L look like, and what are you profiting right now? I'm like, well, this is how much my bills are. I pay all my bills, and this is how much I take home.
Yeah.
Okay, you can't say take home because they don't talk like that in business. I'm like, well, I don't know. This is not what I know. I'm a bartender. And he literally right then came in and showed me how to use Excel and make a spreadsheet and learn how to pull a PMix and a P&L out from my POS system. Actually, I didn't even have a POS system.
Really?
It was one of those push button old school registers. And then I didn't eventually got the POS once I started actually making money.
Mm-hmm.
But then, yeah, we got rid of that girl, and then he just became my partner.
Just right then.
Yeah.
So once he became your partner, it sounds like he obviously is a pretty intelligent guy, and understands like the back end of stuff.
Yeah.
How did you go from like the one spot to where you're at now?
Well, after working in Daily Dose, like years go by, we'd always had dreams and aspirations of opening a bigger bar. You always like dream of the future and like, oh, when we open up our next bar, it's going to be like this or be like that. And we always talk like that. We'd actually gone, so back when we used to drink, I used to drink the mixology craft weird foodie places because I like weird food, and he's a mainstream just normal meat and potato guy.
Yeah.
And he likes his Coors Light and Jameson. Well, we had went to a foodie place, and he'd order Coors Light and Jameson, and they said, we don't serve that crap here. So, but they use other words. I'm not gonna say it.
Yeah.
And we were like, oh, okay. So we left a tip, and then we left the bar, and we said, you know what? When we open up our next bar, we're gonna serve Coors Light and Jameson. We're gonna serve the craft stuff.
Yeah.
And we're gonna be nice to people about it. And so that was kind of the birth of where Bosscat came about. And I always I was obsessed with whiskey at the time, and I always just wanted to have a whiskey bar with good food because our food was so like not good. It was good for a bar, but it's not, because when we used to go out, it was very fun bar atmosphere, but crappy food, or really good food, but crappy bar environment.
Yeah,
because
not a
we
mix.
were loud, crazy, drunk people,
Yeah.
And there was no place really where we can be both loud and fun, rambunctious, and then have good food, or at least decent food, So that's how it came about. And then we were coming up with names. We're coming up with all these stupid names. My nickname was Bosscat. His friends, because he's a really tall, 6'11" guy, his friends used to call me that, saying that I'm the real boss, not him, at the bar, because he'd run around the bar like, saying that he's like the boss and stuff. But his friends would make fun of him because how you boys
Make
fun of each other.
Yeah, for sure.
And they're like, you're not the boss, she's the boss. So they would call me Bosscat.
So that's how you guys literally came up with the name?
That's
I
how we-
always wondered.
That's how the name came about. Yeah. So it was a nickname, and he actually had told me one night. He's like, "Did you know my friends call you Bosscat?" I'm like, "What's a Bosscat?" Like, it's you. They call you that. I'm like, okay, that's really weird. I don't know what that is, what that means. I Google it and then nothing comes up. I'm like, okay, whatever, that's fine.
And then you named your guys' restaurant.
And we had gone to where they worked. They worked at a nightclub, and we'd gone to there and for the first time meeting them, and they're like, "Oh, you're the Bosscat," and I'm like, "Yeah, I heard you guys call me that." And they're like, "Yeah, because you're the real boss, not him, not Don."
That's so funny.
And he had this English accent, so he would say it like that, and I was like, "Oh, okay, I get it. That's funny. I like that. Yeah, that's a cool nickname." And so I would it was used to tease him, so we'd kind of always play around with it, and I put it on my car, and then, when we were coming up with names for bar, I was like, "Oh, we should call it that just to piss him off." And I thought he was gonna say no, but then he was like, "You know what? Actually, that's a catchy name. Let's do that."
It's clever because, I always wondered how you came up with it. I thought it was honestly just because you're a boss. So I was like,
well, essentially, yeah.
So I was like, that's how I thought of it. Was the one on MacArthur your first location of Bosscat then?
Yes.
Okay, so how? Because that's a one. It's like a beautiful space.
Thank you.
But two, it's big.
Yeah.
So going from 1,500 square feet, did you sell the other location to get there? Like how?
No.
I think people don't know what it takes to be able to go from like 1,500 square foot like dive style bar to a full blown restaurant.
Right.
So kind of talk us through that, because I think honestly people have this perception of you just find a building and you do it, and it's like you guys don't understand, like it's not that simple. It's one, it costs a lot of money.
Yeah.
Two, it's like there's a whole process that goes into that.
Yeah.
And I don't know what it is with the perception of people just thinking it's so easy to find a space and throw something in there and sell a product. It's not,
because they see the end product.
Yeah.
Right. They don't see the whole behind
the scenes of everything.
Getting to there, or the build out process, or.
So I'm super curious to know how you went from daily dose to massive restaurant.
So we were actually, dreaming big about our next bar. We were actually going to sign a lease with the Irvine Company at a property on Jeffrey and Alton.
Okay.
We literally had looked at it, bid it out, a few contractors, and we get a call from our friend Vinny, and he said, "Don't sign your lease. I just bought the nightclub, and there's a space next door, and it's empty. If you want to put your concept there, we can. Now, there's other people looking at it, but I would rather do business with you," because we were friends with him, than some other big restaurant group. And I'm like, I don't know, nightclub, not my thing. I just want to, that place has been a million things. Mm-hmm. I don't know if I want to do that. JT was like, "Well, let's just go look at it. It's Vinny, and let's just go look at it." So I said, okay. So I go look at it, and I don't know if you knew that property before.
No, I remember there was a nightclub there, and that's all I really remember.
Yeah, so there's a nightclub, and then there's sushi restaurant, and then a vacant spot, which used to be Panini Cafe.
Okay.
A long time ago, but also like an Italian restaurant before, and then like a Coco's.
Okay.
But at the time when we looked at it, it was rubble. It was like
just pretty destroyed.
Kind of destroyed. They use it as a empty space. I think I've partied there a couple times before when they had like this blackout party. So it wasn't like a very like
nice
appealing space to me, because I'm like, oh, this is where tingy party people hang out.
That makes sense.
But then I went and I looked at it and I fell in love with the patio. And I've always wanted a space with a large outdoor venue, because I feel like in Orange County we don't have enough outdoor. Well, now we do. Now everything's outdoor, but but we don't have enough open air rooftop spaces or anything. So I fell in love with patio, and I'm like, oh, let's do this. And then that's how it all kind of came about.
Because so you guys, you were open with the nightclub.
Yes.
For like a while, right?
Yeah.
Okay. That's how I remember it, because before I even met you, I had obviously been there. So I was just curious how that, what and how that.
Yeah,
that
I had
happened.
10 nightclub and then 10 Asian bistro.
Yes.
And then we built Bosscat there. Yeah.
Okay. So No, go ahead. Sorry.
No, so then Vinny, Vinny was that guy. He's like, I want to own a nightclub. And so he did it for a little bit. And then he was also running the sushi restaurant. But he was like, I don't know how to run restaurants. Can you help me? And we're like, oh, okay. So we started helping him run 10. Okay. JT started helping him with the nightclub. Did the nightclub for a while, but, eventually we're just not nightclub people.
Yeah.
So, and that's like a whole different
animal, it's a whole different world.
Business, and whole different world, whole different morale, and so eventually we were like, just try to get rid of it, and now we just sublease it out.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense then. That's crazy because the property's, I mean, it's pretty big.
It's huge.
And so it's like random.
Yeah.
But
you wouldn't think there's 3 businesses on one property.
Yeah, the nightclub just was the one that always threw me off because I was like, where does the heck does this fit in?
Well, so the property was built that way because back in the day there was a gentleman that had built it like that because it was like his playhouse.
Interesting.
Rich people.
Wait, do you?
Right.
So that was your guys' first bar restaurant together, like from scratch, and how long ago was that?
7 years and 7.5 years ago.
7.5. So for people that don't know, in 7.5 years you have gone from that to how many concepts do you guys have now?
Well, now we have 3. Well, what do we count? The
restaurants.
Well, three concepts, but we closed one of them, that BCK, but we're actually going to bring it to California.
Okay.
That one's the one in Houston.
Okay.
But we also have you mentioned the bars that are inside the apartments.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's considered a concept, but
yeah, those are concepts.
I don't.
Well, because I think it's crazy to see, like, I mean, like I was saying right before we started, like you have your hands in so many different things and are so busy, and like I see and hear people daily say, oh my gosh, I want to do X, Y, and Z, right? Like I have this cool idea, and then like a year later they're still talking about it or like thinking about the idea.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that just don't have like that hustle mentality that clearly you have. And it's just in 7.5 years, like to go from one restaurant to several and adding on different, concepts and venues through that. Like those stories to me are what are inspiring. And I just don't know how else to like describe it except for saying it's like, it's hard work and then obviously making right decisions. Right.
Yeah.
Like, but
I don't know if I always made the right decision.
I was gonna say, how did you and your partner be able to just go from daily dose to where you're at? Like, I know it took you guys hard work, but can you kind of just talk us through what it takes to get from that to where you guys are now?
I mean, it takes doing what you love. Him and I are both addicts, so we're both addicted to the game and addicted to building the business. And it's both, we both have that same passion, so we both have the same drive and we have the same vision. So it's easy to do this when you have a team around you that is supportive of everything, And I'm not the smartest person in the room, and I'm not the best, so I surround myself with people that can do better jobs than I can do. Like the people on our team run the business better than I can.
Why do you think that's looked down upon now? Because a lot of times people want to be the best and they want to be number one and they want to be the best at everything, but they don't have that team concept. Like me coming from an athletic background, like you never want to be the hardest worker in the room.
Yeah.
Because then you can't get better. You can't learn.
Yeah.
Other guys have a different mentality and they say, you have to be the best guy in the room. Well, it's like then unless you're helping people come up and raising them up, and helping them get better, it's never really going to help you if you're just kicking everyone's butt in the room. But if you surround yourself with people that are like-minded, that have that same drive, in my experience and in my opinion, I think it's better because now you can hold each other accountable.
Right.
Like the business side of it, we just got a sponsor or extended a sponsorship with McGuire's, And Ben goes, hey, let's do this with the money. I'm like, bro, you're the smarter business person. Let's do that.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what to do.
Right.
And so I rely on him a lot for the business aspect of it. You know, the only reason I host it is because of my good looks and size. But no, you know, I think it's good if you can complement each other.
Definitely.
You know, what has that, having that, like when you say addict, do you mean like legit addict?
Oh yeah, I'm true
so
addict.
Talk
Through and through.
Talk to us a little bit about that, about how it's running, what it's like running a business while because a lot of addicts that I've come across or that I know are very selfish.
Yeah.
And they want things for themselves, and I just want this outcome. So talk to us about being a team player while having that addictive lifestyle.
Well, addict, when you say selfish, you mean, are they being selfish because they're in their addictions and they are doing things because of,
They just want to do something so that they can get the abuse, whatever substance or alcohol or whatever.
Yeah, because they'll do anything at great lengths to get to that goal, right?
Okay.
To achieve getting high or to achieve. And I feel like, okay, once you realize, okay, I'm an addict, it's also a good trait to have in a sense of things, because if you can gear those addictions into a good part in your life, you will go above and beyond to achieve whatever it is, whether it be building 10 stores or making $1 million or impacting 100 people, whatever your goals are going to be, you're going to achieve it because you have those traits. Like you said, you say that they're selfish, but they're doing things to get their high. So they're just going above and beyond to get to where they're trying to get. Their goals are misconstrued. Their goals is to get high. Their goals is not to be successful in business, or their goals is not to, whatever those goals are. Their goals are wrong. Yeah. So if they change what their goals are, they can achieve that.
What made you realize, like, oh wow, like I'm an addict?
I got in a car accident.
Okay.
I never really admitted that I had a problem until I got sober. I didn't realize I was an alcoholic until I got sober. And John got sober a year before me. And we had, I had always had big resentment to him, saying, like, it's your fault. You're the one with a problem. You're the one with the issue, not me. Well, he got sober, went to rehab, and then I got worse. So when he went to rehab, I actually did outpatient rehab therapy with him to help him. And then I was like, oh, this is all you, not me.
Yeah.
And then I continued drinking. I continued partying. But I got worse. And then I got into a car accident. And that is what was my rock bottom. And then when I got out, I'm like, oh, I have to tell him. And that was like my biggest fear, of telling him that I got in a car accident and got a DUI and the whole story of what happened. And he told me, he's like, if you need to get help, and if you don't, if you ever drink again, I'm not gonna do any more business with you. And that was enough for me. I was like, okay, I can keep doing this and die, or stop and not lose everything.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's just like,
it
nuts. Gave me like a little goosebumps. So he essentially told you quit.
He gave me the ultimatum.
Yeah. Quit or quit.
Quit. Yeah.
So did you?
So I did. I didn't drink. I went to AA right away. And I went to AA because I wanted to get sober, not because it was court mandated. And I hated AA. It took me a long time to find. It took me 3 months to find an AA meeting that worked for me. Because when I went to some of the AAs, I was like, oh my God, these people, they have problems. I don't have problems.
Yeah, you justify yourself. I kind of did that when I got out of the Marine Corps, to be honest with you. Like, because everyone was like, oh, you have PTSD. And I was like, no, I don't. I was like, look at my buddy over there. He's got PTSD. Yeah. You justify, you play the game of.
I'm like, you guys are crazy, not me.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
I'm not stealing money and living in a ditch and trying to, put needles in my arms. I'm just drinking.
Yeah,
partying.
you're just having fun.
I'm just having fun. I own my own business.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm in my eyes, I was like, okay, I'm not homeless.
That's what I was going to get to. While you were an addict, you built a successful business. And now you have that incident, you're rock bottom. Did you see your business like in jeopardy? Like after you worked so long, you had all those experiences, you know, you were a successful employee, you open up a business that was with the wrong person, you find the right person, and now you guys have something successful. Did you feel like that was in jeopardy?
Well, so Bosscat wasn't like successful yet. This is right when it just started. But I did feel like Daily Dose was in jeopardy because literally that in 2 days, ABC calls me. And they're like asking me questions about the accident. Where were you leaving? How much did you have to drink?
Wow.
What did you? And if you leave from your own establishment, getting a DUI,
so they can take it, right?
Yeah, that's a no-no. So thank God, luckily, I had been leaving from a different establishment. Because I used to drink in my own bar all the time. So
that's crazy.
After that, I was like, oh, I can literally lose my license. And that would be everything.
Yeah. So AA, you found one that you liked. You were working through it.
I found one that I finally liked. It was an all women's group, and they were all like-minded, like me. They were all business people, and people that I related to, and more my age, and I just related more with them. And after that, I was like, okay, I can do this. And then I actually left. JT made me leave for a month, and I went to my family's in Arizona and stayed with them.
Okay. And so I don't know how much you've listened to like some of our other episodes, but Manny and I have kind of forced it like on my own self, and like using the word grit and really kind of owning up to it. Like I feel like the last season of my life has been all about being gritty, and being gritty is means so many different things to different people, but I'm kind of just projecting this on you, but like it sounds like you had to literally adapt and adopt being gritty, like in the sense of knowing that you were an addict, getting yourself clean, but still owning a bar.
Yeah.
Like the daily grit that would take, the daily mental strength, and the not just like the mental strength, but the ability to just be able to get up and go to somewhere that can literally feed what you are struggling with. Like, how did you find the strength in doing that?
So actually when we first did the outpatient with JT, the therapist had said, you need to get rid of all the alcohol in your house. And we're like,
did you have a lot?
We did, but we never really.
I'd say you're probably not at home when you're in a restaurant.
Yeah, we really
you're not
didn't
at home.
drink at home. We weren't home drinkers. We were more social drinkers at the bars and stuff. But like, we can't get rid of all the alcohol because it's a lot of money, and we work in the bar, so we can't. No, that's not gonna work. And we're like, well, no, we own bars, we can't do that. And they're like, well, you need to change your job. You need to close your business and do a different business. We're like, no, we're not gonna do that. And what I learned, and what actually I learned in AA was like, if you're gonna find whatever your drug of choice is, you're gonna find it wherever you are.
Sure.
If you move to the mountains and you're addicted to cocaine, you're gonna use, if you really want to, you're gonna do it.
Yeah.
So drugs and alcohol are all still gonna be around us. We just had to both learn how to live with it, around it. And I actually found that immersing myself in it, but in a different way, helped. Like now I'm obsessed with it, but obsessed with the story and the history and learning about the families that made these spirits.
Yeah.
I've done the bourbon trail sober and not partake.
Yeah. That's great. That's cool. I mean, that literally shows like the strength that you
I have been told gritty. I've been told that by a lot of people, actually.
Well, I mean,
so it's interesting you use that word.
Yeah, grit is literally like, I've talked about it, I've posted about it, I have a shirt that says it. Like, it's literally like, it's not just some cowboy term. It's literally being able to like persevere and endure just the hardships to get to where you're wanting to go. And in today's world, man, we live in a place where people give up so easy. We have become so soft as people where it's like, oh man, it's been a rough year, I'm quitting. Or, oh, I can't do this anymore because, I don't know, whatever. Manny and I have talked about it so many times, but especially being a business owner in a restaurant, it's like, you could quit. You could have changed your career path. You could have thrown in the towel and be like, oh, well, I can't do this because I'm going to let my addiction win. And it's like, at the end of the day, that doesn't affect anybody but obviously like you and the people that you've created a business for.
Right.
And so being gritty is doing those things that no one sees. It's, you know, it's the midnight 2 a.m., 3 a.m. that I see you posting about when you got to be up at 4 a.m. It's grit is just so much more than just a term. It's truly like, I think it's a lifestyle. And
It is.
I don't even know how you would begin to come out of like AA and then go right back to your bar. Like that takes special people, in my opinion.
Well, so I've learned that I'm an all or nothing person. So like, I can't eat chips because if I eat one, I will eat the whole bag.
That's funny.
So I have very strong willpower, but no self-control.
But you've it seems like you've taken, the word that keeps coming to mind for me is just discipline. And you've taken that grittiness and that discipline and that same, some of those, it might sound dumb to say, but there could be, like you were saying, there are positive attributes to being an addict. Because if you take those attributes into something good or into something positive, this is the result you get, you know? You get to branch out, you get to grow, and you now you have a different, you're looking at it in a different light. You're saying, no, I want to know the story behind it.
Yeah.
Like now you're obsessing about that rather than obsessing
Right.
about how it makes you feel.
Right.
You know?
Because it is. It's an obsess. You become obsessed with it. And that's what addiction is. You become obsessed with one thing. That's why you see a lot of like successful athletes. There's a correlation between like depression and addiction with highly successful people because you have the ability to hyper focus on things. So you're able to be successful, you know?
Yeah. And sometimes I think for athletes, when that gets taken away, it gets taken away like this.
Yeah.
Either your body gives up or you're too old to compete at that level, and now they don't know what to turn to because they were so hyper-focused into just being an athlete.
Yeah.
They never invested time into being educated about finances or getting into business. Not so much now. I think there's more athletes that are turning and getting educated to different parts of business. But you were able to turn, you know, might be cliche, nothing into something. And now you've grown tremendously. You have a good social media presence. You know, in talking about social media, I love asking entrepreneurs this question: is do you think it's a good thing or a bad thing for you to have social media? Because like Tim over at Richard Porter said it best, where he's like, it's never been easier to start a business,
Right.
but it's never been harder to scale one. And so now everyone can share their story or tell their story.
I think social media, I mean, the power of social media is so huge.
Yeah.
It's so huge. I mean, you literally, in the palm of your hands, have the ability to run a multi-million-dollar company.
Yeah.
Like when in
crazy.
the age where we, you know, I mean, I'm a lot more older than you gentlemen, but, you know.
You look younger. So I'm good.
I'm 41. But, you know, I come from the age of pagers, and we used to have to look up the Thomas guide
I'd say
on
the
a
Thomas
map.
guide, yeah, for maps. I
Like,
remember driving.
now everything is done so fast. So
Yeah.
the only problem is learning all these things, like, right?
Yeah.
I gotta learn to do all these TikTok stuff, and I have to learn how to, you know, there's so much. There's so many platforms. It's more than Instagram. You know,
100%.
it's Facebook, Yelp, TikTok, Snapchat. It's like so many, and I think it's a great thing. There's been no better time than to have a business or to start a business
100%.
because you have the ability and the capability in the palm of your hands to just
they all serve a different purpose too.
right.
And so it's really neat. I commend you for doing that. It helps me get motivated when I feel sorry for myself or I feel bad for my situation. I'm like, no, like there's people that are like you right now are still telling your story. And I think that's really interesting because there's not a lot of women entrepreneurs, especially that grab the bull by the horn and say, no, like I'm doing this and I'm going to do it my way, you know, and it's really neat that you get to share your story and that you're open about it. You know, so we talked a lot about Bosscat and it's awesome, but I just had some really, really good donuts. So where did that come about? Like what
Miss
happened there?
Minnie
How do you go
Donuts?
from food and drinks to donuts?
So I actually started Miss Minnie Donuts before Bosscat.
Oh, you did?
Yes.
Okay.
Nobody knows
See,
that.
I wouldn't know that.
Very few people know that.
This is why I love the podcast. Like I've known you for a while now, but I don't know a lot of your story. I just know what we know of each other.
Yeah.
And this type of platform in this setting is like so fun for me, like on a personal level, because like you learn things about people. You're like, oh crap, I didn't know that. Because it's not like I'm gonna hang out with you one day and be like, Leslie, tell me this, and that. I mean, maybe, but it's not likely, you know? Like,
Yeah.
So this type of a setting has been just such a cool platform for my own selfish wants.
No, yeah, I started Miss Minnie Donuts before Bosscat, and I just did music festivals. So Vinny, the guy that bought the nightclub that I told you earlier, he does trash and food and beverage for music festivals. That's his like other side business. So he has that business. He also does insurance is his main business. Then the festivals is like his side thing, and then the nightclub was like a hobby. So I always fall in love with this little donut machine. In Seattle, in Washington, there's a little guy that makes them by Pike's Market. I don't know if you heard of Pike's Market. You know where they throw the fish?
Yes.
Yeah,
So
Yes.
right across from where they throw the fish is a little stand called Daily Dozen. And I always love it because I'm like, Daily Dozen, Daily Dose.
Yeah.
Right? And then we used to go there as a family all the time. So it was very nostalgic for me. I've always wanted this machine. And I would tell JT, I'm like, I want the donut machine. It's like, what do you want a donut machine for? I'm like, I want to make cute little donuts with fun toppings on it, you know, because when I eat, I like to eat a variety of flavor.
Yeah.
And I don't want to commit to one whole big donut.
Yeah.
So I told him, like, I don't know. I want to get a machine. I don't know where I'm going to make them. I don't know how we're going to do them. I just want it. He's like, okay, whatever. I always had these crazy ideas. When I met Vinny and I heard he did festivals, I said, oh, Vinny, if I get a donut machine, can I sell donuts at your festival? He's like, sure. They'd be great for the festivals. So I looked at JT. I'm like, I get a donut machine. So I literally went online, bought the whole kit and caboodle and everything, and then started doing music festivals with Vinny.
That's crazy.
And I started with one flavor, just cinnamon
What was the
sugar.
original
Cinnamon
flavor?
sugar. Because when you're serving festivals, you're serving
Less is more
thousands
sometimes, yeah.
of people. You would think less is more. So now I serve 10 flavors and coffee.
Yeah, that's true.
So I
You've
serve
done
your coffee.
Is it good coffee? Be
Sometimes.
honest. Is it good coffee?
I
Sometimes.
serve your coffee at the festivals. And actually, the growing it to more flavors and coffee, I quadrupled my business in the
Dang.
festival
That's cool.
from what I used to normally average.
Where do you make the donuts?
Inside the kitchen.
So you use
10.
your kitchen.
I
Yeah,
use
that
the
makes
kitchen.
sense. Dude, she's-
Maximize that restaurant space.
Yeah. Yeah, so the donuts are crazy, and she's always doing so something about you that I think is really cool that you said at the very beginning, which it now makes sense to me. You are not a bad artist because everything you do now is just a different form of art. Like everything you do, like when you like if you go to the restaurant tonight, you'll see like all the little details that she put into like that's art in a different form.
It's my soul.
It's seriously, but like I would have never spent the amount of time to do some of the stuff that I've seen you do over the years, but then the outcome of it, it's like, oh dang,
Thank you.
I would have maybe hired her to go do that. Like, there's no way I'm gonna do that. But like, that is art in a different form. So I thought that was kind of
Comes full circle.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
she's doing things like super cool things where like she'd put donuts in cigar cases or boxes, cigar boxes. But like cool things like that where you're not gonna get that at
No, not at all.
Daily Dozen. You're not going to get that there, you know, but I think it's really cool that you've done so many different things, but that still, had no idea that you were an artist before.
Yeah.
But now I can see.
Trying, starving.
I can see that.
But yeah, when you see tonight, when you go to the orange locations, like the whiskey room, I had built that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
See, she does cool stuff. You'll see it. But
Well, I know. I'm going for sure now. Like, I'm excited to go.
kind of I mean, you don't have to share too much if you don't want to, but I mean, we've talked about where you guys started, where you're at, and then share like what you guys have on the horizon if you'd like to.
Yeah.
I want people to like follow you and just be a part of your story, because I always feel like I'm a part of your story, just being able to watch it, because we met through, I don't even know how we met, to be honest with you. I don't remember.
Hoover.
Oh, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Does he still work there?
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen him in a while.
Yeah.
So he used to go to my San Juan store. And big dude with the beard, crazy.
The bearded bartender.
Yeah, crazy bartender
really?
guy. So he got into coffee. So I let him borrow something. And then that's how, that's so funny.
You still need to get it back, right? Hoover,
does he still have it?
I don't.
Yeah, I think
so. Hoover, give it back.
You can have it now if you still have it. But yeah, tell us about kind of just what you guys are planning on. And if you, I know we kind of always say this, but if you can just give a little bit of advice to like aspiring entrepreneurs or someone that might be going through a crazy life situation, like just give them something that can kind of maybe push them into the right direction. That's our hope, and that's our goal is hopefully someone heard your story and it just inspired them. It maybe kicked them in the butt. Maybe it made them feel like they should stop complaining about their own situation because it can always be worse, right?
Yeah, it definitely can always be worse.
I know that was a lot and a loaded question, but on the horizon and then some advice.
On the horizon, we are actually in the process of building a 10 Asian bistro in Houston.
Okay.
So that will be coming up at the end of the year. We are going to Irvine as well. So Bosscat N10 will be in Irvine.
Nice.
And we'll see. I'm not sure what state we'll be in next, but we've been vetted out by a lot of land developers to go. So could possibly be Arizona. We already have the 3 little bars in Arizona that are inside the apartments. So we've been looking out there, possibly Nevada, possibly Colorado, Atlanta. We'll see.
So freaking cool. That's
one of the big food spots. We'll see.
That's the power of living the American dream. Like, it's cheesy and it's cliche, but like nowhere else in the world.
Is this the American dream?
But nowhere else in the world would you be. It's so true.
And now we need a nap room with all the entrepreneurs we have. Let's just have a nap room.
But it's so cool. Like I feel like I get personally recharged in kind of just like a new jump when we do these, because I am an entrepreneur at heart, right? Like, but I kind of let myself fizzle off for a while because I got tired or I got complacent or I was like, man, I'm over that. I need to do this, and that. It's like hearing stories like yours is like, dude, I need to just continue to like buckle down, have that spirit, like just keep getting after it, being gritty. And it's just so cool, man. Like you talking about working in other people's bars and thinking you can do that to now literally being a Bosscat. Like, it's like it's really cool.
Crazy. It is for me, for sure, when I hear our guests share, and it's always fun because there's some sort of relationship there, and the fact that we have these now, I have these type of people in my life is like, wow, like it's motivating for me because there's always, like, I've opened and shut down my business 3 times.
What business?
Like I ran a digital marketing agency, and I'm very much like Ben, where I hate working for people, but I love working with people.
Yeah.
So like clocking in, clocking out. You can't do this. You have to do this. Here's your lunch. I'm like, man, like let me just be creative.
Yeah.
Are
you sure you don't want to open that business again? Because I have a lot of people asking me for digital marketing. I don't know why people think that.
Well, because you're good at it. Yeah. And it's a part of it. It is, and it's just inspiring for me. So like, thank you for being open to sharing your story. I think it means a lot to Ben, I'm sure, because he has a relationship to you, and it means a lot to me because I'm like, man, we're able to give people a platform to share their story and to open up, and like Ben speaks about all the time, we just want to help one person. Like if one person listening or watching gets something from your story, like that's what we want to do. And so it makes my little cold heart warm. And so it's awesome, man. I love it. And there's a 3-part question.
Oh yeah. So.
The advice to either someone thinking about starting something, someone in it, or just someone in a life situation that.
I think just find what your passion is, like whatever it is that you love doing or like doing, a hobby, that should be your ultimate goal, because you will work on something 18 hours a day. I mean, passion is crazy. I mean, I would have never woken up before 9 o'clock for anything.
Yeah.
I'll wake up at 3 a.m. to make these stupid little donuts.
Seriously, all the time I see her posting and I'm like, you're nuts.
Yeah, it's crazy what passion does to you. And like,
Yeah.
the donuts also saved my life because I also had
There's a meaning to it.
And it gave me purpose.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like there was something about making something that was making someone happy that made me feel good and made me feel worth something. Because I thought awesome. I was so down on myself for so long and felt worthless, and I wanted to commit suicide for a long time. And I had already planned my death and all that stuff, and then I just kept getting orders, and I'm like, oh, I have to make this order. I have to get up. So I would get up and make orders. I'd be like crying, making the orders, and then I'd get a note from them later on saying, thank you so much. You made our wedding so magical. And I was like, oh. And that gave me purpose. So I think if you find whoever's struggling out there, just find a purpose, whatever that purpose is. For me, it's making other people happy. Mm-hmm. Everyone has a different purpose, whether it's making their children happy or raise their children to be good people, or whether they're, whatever purpose, they just need to find what that purpose is.
Yeah.
Everyone's going to be different purpose, so if it's taking care of an elderly or
it is intense.
Yeah, it's just, so for me, my therapy is helping other people.
That's good. I like that. So passion and purpose.
Purpose. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. I like that. Like that's awesome though. Like that's good.
Yeah. No,
I don't even know what to say. Like I'm just.
I do. Where can people find you? If they want to get a hold of you, if they want more of this Bosscat motivation.
You can find me on LinkedIn, Instagram.
What is it? What's the handle?
Miss Bosscat. MISS.
Okay. So MISS.
Miss Bosscat.
Miss Bosscat.
CAT. Yes.
Awesome. Well, I love it.
Yeah.
Benjamin, you got anything else?
I appreciate you.
No, thank you.
I
appreciate you.
Guys.
I appreciate you.
All right.
Another fun episode. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your time. And remember, guys, that everything was impossible until someone did it. So, guys, remember to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. You can find us on YouTube at youtube.com/The Fight Within Podcast. Find us on all audio platforms, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, anywhere you guys like to listen to it. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you for continuing to listen to it and watch it. We can see the growth on our analytics, and just want to thank you guys for supporting us. This episode of the podcast is brought to you by Kingdom Nutrition. Make sure you guys go and visit their site over at kingdomnutrition.com and enter promo code MFW10 to get 10% off your next purchase. Kingdom Nutrition carries the best sports supplements on the market. They manufacture and curate their own line of supplements with the highest quality ingredients, including a lean protein, weight gainer protein, pre-workout, BCAAs, and an array of other products. They've recently created the world's first vegan chickpea protein, and it tastes amazing. I'm a big dude. I like food, and I like chocolate. So when they told me it comes in chocolate and vanilla, I got really happy. But if you're a workout enthusiast and you want to change up your diet, change up your protein, go check out their vanilla chickpea protein. It mixes well with anything. It'll blend great with a smoothie. So to get your hands on any of these products, just make sure and go visit kingdomnutrition.com. Remember to enter promo code MFW10 and get 10% off your next purchase. Let's go.